it's the first time doing anything on this scale. I've done lots of much smaller things in the past, never using live players, all done sequences, synthesizers, samples, that sort of thing. Even the orchestral stuff that I've done in the past has been much smaller and always fake. And this is the first time that I've had the opportunity to do the real thing and make an hour, 70 minutes of music that was all destined to be played by a real ensemble. And we got the opportunity to do this in Prague. Got the opportunity and we took it. I was put to work about a year ago, starting to generate all this stuff, and wrote, and whittled it down to things that made the cut, and got a hold of Andy Brick, who's the orchestrator and conductor and jack of all trades, and he hooked us up with the orchestra over here. Going through what Andy and Martin, the orchestrators, refer to as MIDI-itis, where I'm being essentially deflowered, since this is my first experience taking computer-generated, synchronized, quantized, rigidized, lifeless music and giving it to 60 living, breathing, warm-blooded humans to play. And so I've gone out of my perfect little world of perfection into this place where people make wrong notes, they eventually get it together and play it right, but it's sort of this very white-knuckle experience, and they're kind of good-heartedly laughing at me because they've been through it themselves, and it's a weird experience to go through. But at the end of the day, once you come out the other side, it's pretty amazing to sort of let go of the, composed in a hermetically sealed vacuum world of MIDI sequences. Predominantly, the music is all about the 6 distinct races. And so at the very beginning, we said, what is a dwarf? What is an orc? What is a high elf? So on and so forth. And literally, if anybody knows me, they'll appreciate this, there's a spreadsheet that assigns musical characteristics to the races. So all the way down from, what sort of scales and modal inflections would a dwarf have, would chaos have, what sort of tonality, what sort of timbres, instrumentation, orchestration, all the way down to stupid stuff like, does a dwarf have a snare drum? No. Does Empire? Yes. Does Chaos? Absolutely not. Does the High Elf? Sure. So I have this grid as I'm going through and figuring out what makes dwarf music dwarfy, and I can look these very specific criteria up. Well, it's pentatonic, and brass carries the melody all the time, and it has this kind of percussion, but not that kind of percussion, because orcs get that kind of percussion. And then using that as kind of a starting point, pouring the character of each particular race into that framework. Some are pretty obvious and easy. The dwarves, proud, venerable, horn-based fanfares, it's kind of dwarf stuff. Chaos, was an excuse to have all kinds of fun. That's obviously the craziest music we have, where we have instructions for these string players are doing all sorts of nutty stuff, beating on their instruments and playing the bows upside down and scraping this and punching that. And then at the end of the day, have them be very identifiable as such. I used to bounce the pieces of music off of coworkers and play, guess the race, and you'd play a piece of music, and I knew I was on the right track because every time everybody got it right. Oh, that's dwarf music, that's Empire music, that's dark elf music, it's a piece of cake.